It's good to know that despite the newer trilogy, there is still good Star Wars. Now, the first season of The Bad Batch is better than this season, the latest season, season 2. But this is still a good season. A lot of good happened this season, a lot of good story building, a lot of holes filled in the Star Wars universe. So it's still an acceptable season, in my opinion. There are some moments that are like, really? Like, does this need to be happening right now? But it's still good shit. Like, we learn right away that them being alive, Clone Force 99, is being covered up. But then all of a sudden, it's just never brought up again. So that's just like a little, it's like, I mean, maybe a little consistency would be nice. But we do see the return of characters like Gunji, which, that was cool, I thought. And we also saw the destruction of Kaminoa and the big conspiracy around it, and how the Batch and Rex went out to like expose it, but then Palpatine shows up and he's like, well, it's actually a good thing because, and he like twists it into his favor and makes it a good thing. We also see the clones forced into retirement, but then we're also introduced to Royce Hemlock, who is the scientist in charge of the Imperial cloning project. So it's like the old clones are being retired, are being thrown away so they can make their own clones. We also see the Batch splitting up, though it is brief because they do eventually get back together by the end of the season. But it's great to see them kind of gonna go out and do their own thing, especially since they do cut ties with Sid, and a character named Fee, voiced by Wanda Sykes, brings them to a island, the planet of Pabu, where a tsunami fucking absolutely destroys it, and they decide to stay, but then they decide to leave. But that's because the Empire, namely Hemlock, is trying to force Crosshair to locate Clone Force 99, which again goes into the fact that they're being covered up being alive because everyone thinks they're dead, but then all of a sudden Royce Hemlock just knows they're alive. But we also see Saw Gerrera make an appearance, which is cool, but it's because of him tragedy strikes. We see the death of a member of the Bad Batch and the capture of another. I will not say who if you have not seen it yet, but the death of this particular member is emotional. Now, there are moments that are kind of questionable, like there's a very random ass racing episode, there's a treasure hunt episode, there's one where their ship gets stolen by a kid for food, which is kind of depressing, but at the same time it's random as hell. So while there's a lot of great story building in the Star Wars universe, there's also a lot of randomness that it's like, they're clearly just trying to fill time. But ultimately, I do think this is a good season of The Bad Batch. The animation is fantastic. It's the same as the Clone Wars in the first season of Bad Batch, but I feel like it's been smoothed out quite a bit, which when I first started watching the Clone Wars, I fucking hated the animation. Absolutely hated it. But now that it's kind of smoothed out, characters kind of move a little more freely, it's not like blocky, I'm growing to really like it. The voice acting is great. D. Bradley Baker, who voices the entirety of the Bad Batch and all the clones, he is just amazing. He's really taken to this role. Michelle Ang, I think first name Michelle? I believe her first name is Michelle. The voice of Omega, fucking love Omega. And it is great to see these like hardened soldiers have to react to the emotions of a child. Because, they're training her to be a soldier, but at heart she is still a child, and they have to deal with that. And that adds layers to Hunter, to Wrecker, to Echo and Tech. And it's just great to see them as more than just soldiers. I give Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 2 I give it a B plus.
Did you enjoy the review? Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to get notified when more reviews go live. Feel free to leave a comment to discuss your thoughts on the movie or show, and I will see you next time.